This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena, I'm going to bring to you my baby. Blue, white, control. You know a deck is your baby when you fight for it. And what I mean by that is I can play 10 to 20 games of Gruul, make a video, make some tweaks here or there, and then not touch it again until new cards are released or a different version is shown off. And I'm fine with that. And hopefully you guys who are into it can watch it, see some content, see a list you might like. Plus we learn something for when we face Gruul in the future, right? But for blue-white control, I will play as many games as it freaking takes to find a version that works for this meta, and this is what I have found. I have a lot to say about this deck. I could probably talk about this deck for an hour, so I need to push the tempo of the intro. So before I get too deep into it, I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody for your response to the mono red video. Some of you found it inspiring. Many of you reached out to me personally, and the puppo is gonna be okay for a few more years probably. She's gonna be with us for a while yet. Dog picture in the community tab for those who want that. And thank you so much for the support. It was more than I ever expected, and I appreciate it. And probably the best way to thank you is to get in and do another awesome video for you all to enjoy, if that makes sense. It's the only proper sequel. So what have we got here? Why is the deck built the way it is? First, I'm going to introduce the new cards. Second, I'm going to talk about some of the card choices in the deck and the testing process, because a lot went into this one. First of all, Seagate Restoration. People are calling this the worst of the Mythic land cycle. It's 4 blue, blue, blue. Draw cards equal to the cards in your hand +1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. What? What? The worst? Excuse me? It says draw cards on it. This card is actually a very serious endgame in this deck because it was built with this card in mind. We keep our hand size pretty reasonable. We cast one of these and then we're usually well ahead. If we get to cast another, we're insanely ahead. It's not too uncommon to see the late game be like Gadwick into Seagate Restoration into Seagate Restoration if the opponent hasn't put enough pressure on the battlefield. So this card is very much our closer. Now, it sounds win more. Some of you are going to say that's the definition of win more. I disagree. We'll get to the meta in a minute, but the decks that are out there, they're capable of so much power off the top of the deck. You have to keep up. So Seagate Restoration of 4 of. Now, none of the white land, which I'm sure is immediately a concern. What I have found with these lands, the land spells, is they have to fit your deck. They have to fit the theme of your deck. They have to fit the operation of your deck. If you just pile them into your deck, you will clunk up your deck. You will make a bad mana base. The white land that makes angels is arguably better than this, but it doesn't fit into the deck in the same way. We want to run Birth of Meletis in the deck because we need double white for a lot of spells, but we also need double blue for a lot of spells. So we want to be able to keep a hand with like blue, blue, white, and a Birth, right? And we need 5 planes to make sure that Birth can always fetch something. Plus I have Fable Passage, so it needs a lot of basics. And so eventually, if you run too many of these like 7 mana spell lands, but you don't actually want to play them on 7, you want to play something else, in this case Restoration or Gadwick, then you're just clunking up your mana base for no reason. And I see this as a lot of people saying it's free. It's like free if your deck wants the effect. It's not free if your deck doesn't really want it. So that's why you see me not playing a bunch of the other tapped lands that are also spells here, because we need to curve, baby. We have a curve to keep up. So Seagate Restoration is one of the new cards, Skyclave Apparition's the other. My performance with this deck skyrocketed when I found Skyclave Apparition and just jammed it into the deck. This card, when it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. When this creature leaves the battlefield, the opponent gets back an illusion that is power and toughness equal to the casting cost of that permanent that got exiled. This card will confuse people because it will exile a card and then the card will appear underneath it like it would a Banishing Light, right? But when the Skyclave Apparition dies, they don't get the card back. They get a token. And I think because people see the card underneath it, they think they're going to get it back. Oh, I've seen this effect before. Why should I read all that text? Well, what they get back is an illusion token. It's an illusion. And this card solves so many of the problems. Felidar, Retreat, Omnath, Lotus Cobra, for starters. In Dimir Rogues, most of their creatures. In Temur Adventures, it gets rid of Lucky Clover and Edgewall Innkeeper, which is a huge problem for blue-white historically. So, this card actually solved most of the issues in this very hostile meta. And I started with like 2, now it's a 4. Rock solid 4. The last new card is Legion Angel. There's 1 in the main deck and there's 3 in the sideboard. And that's because Legion Angel says when it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a card that you own named Legion Angel from outside the game and put it into your hand. This is a 4-mana 4/3. And this card is freaking sweet. But do you need it? Do you absolutely need Legion Angel? Should you go craft 4? I'm not sure about that. Maybe the 4th Gadwick is just fine. But Legion Angel does get a lot of jobs done. It creates a lot of value. It keeps your hand kind of full. You just make a few plays for a few turns to bridge the gap into your restoration so the opponent can't run you over. It draws a card off Shatter the Sky when you need to. It's an interesting win con. It's actually a 3-turn clock. You attack for 4, then and you play another angel, then you attack for 8, then you play another angel, then you attack for 12. So it closes quickly, and I've been impressed with the card. It does the job for me. So I'm gonna have a quick meta talk. The blue-white deck has, I don't remember the last time it was so horribly positioned in the meta. Omnath is a terrible matchup. Even with the work I put in, it's still a very difficult matchup. Temur Adventures is a terrible matchup. Mono Red is still there to punish me if I dare cut cards that don't interact. And on top of that, Dimir Rogues is a very difficult matchup. So, those 4 decks are probably the most popular, and they're all really hard to beat. And the approach with Gadwick, Seagate Restoration, Dream Trawler, and Elspeth Conquers Death, it goes like this. We can't stop them from drawing a million cards and getting a million resources in the case of Adventures and Omnath. What we can do is spend some turns slowing them down and interacting, and spend other turns keeping up. We just gas up. We use Gadwick and we use Seagate Restoration to draw a ton of cards. Elspeth Conquers Death is important because it's one of the only ways to get something for free in this deck. Other decks cheat on mana, they get free mana all over the darn place. Elspeth Conquers Death on Chapter 3, getting something out of the graveyard, preferably a Dream Trawler. That's cheating on mana. We got a free Dream Trawler, and we have the rest of our mana to do things to them. So that's kind of in a nutshell the game plan. Sometimes we have to counter things, sometimes we have to fill up our hand, and figuring out when to tap out and just leave yourself exposed to what the opponent can do and draw a bunch of cards is an important part of the deck. It's also important to know that this deck doesn't have the usual control problem of if I tap out, they resolve a thing, and now I can't remove the thing, and over time it kills me. We can remove just about anything. We have Skyclave Apparition, Elspeth Conquers Death, and Shatter the Sky. It's all getting exiled, baby. Brazen Borrower is actually really key as well because it can bounce the illusion tokens. It also puts a clock on the opponent, and it can tap a lot of things with Gadwick, being a kind of 2 spells in one body. The deck is a load of frickin' 2-for-1s, to be honest, to keep your hand size large so that Seagate Restoration does its job. And we turn Gadwick and Restoration into Sphinx's Revelation when we have a Dream Trawler to close the game. Some quick stats to show you just how hard I'm willing to work on blue-white control. 41 and 37. That's in one day, by the way. 52% win rate. When you love a deck, you put in the work. I like other Magic decks, kinda. But when I play a Gruul deck or a mono red deck, I'll play 10 to 20 games. I'll put out the video and I'll say some people are going to enjoy this deck, and I will have learned something about how to attack this deck if the list becomes popular, and I don't need to touch it until other new cards or a new version is revealed. But when it comes to a deck that you love, and this is how you know which deck you love, I will work to make it work. And in this case, you can see, like, this deck was a frickin' train wreck when I started out, and just, I mean, where was I at? 21% win rate? And then we just ground it out. Little adjustments. Somewhere in here, I found Skyclave Apparition. From there, increased the number of ECDs, things like that, and just kind of ground it up. I was all the way down to 94% Mythic, thanks to this chart, and got back to the numbers before the night was over. And hopefully, my streak of positive results can continue as I record these videos to show you the deck, because I really like it, happy where it is, and I think you'll love it. And now I've talked for over 10 minutes, so let's dive in and let the nonsense begin. Brazen Borrower, you're gonna have to carry us. The top of our deck needs to be kind. It's a Tapland Fiesta too, but it's on the play. Let's give it a try. Not even close to an ideal hand, but on the play, mulliganing feels much more punished than on the draw, as you end up missing lands. So at least this can cast most of what the top of our deck could provide. With the Brazen Borrower, I don't need to hold up Essence Scatter here. We can bounce whatever creature the opponent plays, and then counter it later. Of course, if they play Lotus Cobra, that's messy, but then we can Essence Scatter the turn 3 Omnath, potentially. Slow and Tumor wins the race. Knowing Keeper. Thank you. 3 mana open, we could also get this tap land into play. There's nothing that would make me cast the 3/1 Borrower, so let's do it. We could also try to hold this, though, to be the last land out of our hand. In case we just draw like 3 straight land, we can go Dream Trawler into Restoration. Okay, talk myself into hanging on to this. Adventures is a very hard matchup. We're going to need to find Apparition for the Clover. Take one from the token, probably counter the beast. And they're going for a Beanstalk Giant. Okay. We'll go ahead and Brazen the token then. Brazen Borrower doesn't have a bunch of good targets in this deck, so it's kind of unfortunate that we kept a hand with 2. Rip. They just jam it. Okay. That's gonna be a tricky one. Obviously, they're going to wish they could play more Escape to the Wilds. And if they do, then we get a Dream Trawler now. I do want to draw land, so I don't need to crack this yet. I suppose I could still draw 2 straight lands, so let's not play the Restoration. I might end up paying 3 life for it. That's probably fine. We're not under a huge amount of pressure yet. Our opponent's just ramping to the moon, that's all. Okay, they're going with the Uro. That's fine. It's not a board presence yet. So they're probably going to play another Escape. Their plan is to super outvalue us. Okay. I am going to hold on to the Brazen Borrower. Running it out here is just kind of silly. Although we can bounce this token. Alright. Well, maybe not. Maybe getting the damage in is very much worth it. We're going to have the Dream Trawler down against an empty board. They have a Fey of Wishes, so they probably go and get Ugin. They don't have the mana to cast the Ugin yet. Can we close? That's the question. I don't think we have enough, but if we draw a neutralize for the Ugin, the game's probably just over. Yep, here it comes. Easy Ugin, right? Come on, neutralize. We've definitely put ourselves in a position where you can see how we could win the game. I don't know if we're going to. Oh, sleep. Wow, somebody listen to the podcast? The heck is this? Spikefield Hazard, sure. One Brazen Bee down. I mean, aren't you gonna cast that sleep? No? Okay, hang on to it. I guess they've decided they want some board presence. And I guess they lose a lot of Escape to the Wild, so they still think they're in a value game. Or at least they're trying to be in one. Seagate Restoration, if we had the land, but we've got the Gadwick into the land, so... Let's go. Our turn. Go ahead and hit a Scry. Apparition can be very strong, let's hang on to it. We have to deal with those Clovers. They probably chump blocks. Up to 26. Our opponent with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 land. We have 7. Here's the first Clover of the day. Their mana's pretty taxed this turn. They really want to play Sleep. Is that another? Oh no, not another Granted. That's bad. But we found the Neutralize. Okay, this is going to get interesting. Because they're probably going to play Sleep, and they're probably going to get Negate here too, so that they can force the Ugin out. Yeah, they do. So what do we need to do? Our creatures go to sleep. Good job by them playing Sleep, by the way. Ugin's coming, and Ugin plus Negate. So what we need to do is counter the Negate and push through Elspeth Conquers Death. If we have 8 lands, so if we hit our land drop this turn, next turn we'll have 9. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're okay. So we go for Restoration. We just have to make sure we draw a land. And this is what I talked about with the race. This is us just trying to keep up with them. And I'm a little nervous because we only drew 1 land. We need another. Oh, we have the Restoration. Okay. Of course, that could also be interesting. Here's Oogs. Big Oog.
Power without wisdom is the path.
So this does go down to 1. Maybe I don't have to remove it immediately. Maybe it's better to, while the opponent's holding up Negate, to take out their Clover. I can also bounce the Ugin and make them recast it, which is a huge amount of mana for them. Because play an ECD, counter the Negate is my whole turn, and then they get to be the first mover. I don't think that's very good. I don't know if they would negate a Brazen Borrower on the Ugin. It just kind of resets it. This is a tricky one. Alright, I'm going after the Clover. We'll see how wrong it turns out to be. I also want this in the graveyard to get back with the Elspeth Conquers Death. I guess I have a Borrower down there, but that's not particularly compelling. The opponent has 8 cards in graveyard. Essence Scatter on this would be nice. Yeah, let's go for the Borrower here. If the opponent spends their whole turn recasting Ugin, we're pretty happy. I can also try to force it through on their upkeep, so it uses their mana in case they wanted to counter this. Bone Crusher Giant, sure. Alright. We could just make sure that we bounce Ugin now, but I sort of want them to negate this. Yeah, it's fine. They can't negate the Brazen Borrower if we decide to drop that. The opponent gets a 2/2. And as you see, they've got a lot going on. Still half their deck to go. So that is 3 mana for Uro. Okay. You want to counter Uro when it comes back. Crowbar and Uro into adventures. You can't stop them from doing it, even if you tell them what the deck doesn't need is more value. It does, the life gain is nice, but... Alright, so they go for the Uro. We will go for the Essence Scatter. If they negate it, we will exile the Uro. Most players can't hold on to a counter spell very long, but this player is showing that perhaps they can. A little discipline there. Interesting. So they're scared of something. You can tell that they don't want to take the negate shields down. Another apparition. So we can birth into another land or we can restore. Casting Restoration here is pretty epic. What do we have in hand? 10 cards. 1, 2, 3. And 10. So we would draw 20 cards. We would draw up to 21 cards. Or no, this counts itself. We draw up to 20. Sure. I mean, what are they gonna do? But, oh, we don't have enough land. Alright, so we play the birth. Probably don't counter that. We hit our land drop. We can set that up for some time in the future. 1 plane's left in the deck. Important to remember. Other than that, not much to do this turn. We've got a very reactive hand, which is going to make it hard for our opponent to get something cooking. Right now the board is stable. Right now I just want to get that negate, this part of the game featuring negate out of the way. Probably wondering how will we win? Well, we can still find another Dream Trawler. There's also Brazen Borrowers. There's a lot to do. Alright, so they're going in for a giant. This is all Shatter fodder, so this is fine. And nothing else? They're at 17. Yeah, they're trying to pace. They're trying to pace it very carefully. Let's play a Borrower. I don't know when we're going to Shatter. So, might as well poke the opponent while we wait. Another land. See if the opponent has a Borrower they want to trade here. Probably not. We could play another Apparition and exile this Bone Crusher Giant that way. I think we're in position though to Restoration again. Let's go for it. The opponent hasn't applied enough pressure. So we push this. I don't know how they win. That's fine, they say. Alright. Cool. Cool. We've got options, everybody. There's the Brazen Bee. So their plan here is to push some damage, then try to set up Fling and Beanstalk Giant. I don't need to overreact to this. We can take a hit. They have their own Seagate Restoration. Alright. How many cards do they have? 3? Let's fight this. Let's fight this. Their leftover mana is 6. They've been holding on to that negate for dear life. Okay. And they're going to keep holding on to that negate. Pay to the field. There's the Legion Angel. Alright. How do we start looking to close the game? I think we need to clean the battlefield and make them rebuild. That's step one. So here's a Shatter the Sky. Here's a Shatter the Sky. The deck can't quite figure out where things go right now. Is this what the opponent has been waiting to negate? Yes. Alright, none of that. Let's get that part of the game over with. I'm the counterspell player, not you. If they want to fight over it, there's probably a good reason. Alright, we could replay a creature, but now let's just hold up our mana and counter anything that's good. This is the part where we have to pace, because I think they're still ahead in mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah. They've still got a bit of a mana advantage on us. And of course they have Ugin. Beanstalk Giant, go get another land, sure. Next turn we'll start playing Angels probably, see how they respond to that. We're gonna bring out Uro. We could exile the Uro with an Apparition now. What do they have, 4 mana left? They're not going to get too many creatures on the board. Yeah, let's save the Essence Scatters for the Beanstalk Giants because the Fling combo is going to be their primary win con now. They're at 21, we're at 19. We do have to close the game in some way here. But you guys, hopefully you're seeing, like, this is the new way to fight Temur Adventure. The blue-white deck couldn't really do this before, but because of Skyclave Apparition and because of Sea Gate Restoration, we can fight a resource war where we just absolutely pile up our stuff. And we have access to Eve just about as many cards as them. It did just occur to me, by the way, just about as many cards as they have. Alright, get that Uro gone. Shall we Dream Troll? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'd have 3 mana for Ugin. Sounds good. Or maybe we should just wait till next turn. We really want to play Dream Trawler with a lot of mana available. If we play this Angel, it starts the Angel train, and we have Neutralize and Essence Scatter open. Opponent might have a Brazen Borrower. Yeah, they're enjoying my new cards. Yes, they're very nice. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. You can go. You can do the thing now. Bounce my thingy. All right, cool. I'm sorry, everybody. Unprofessional. Shall we trade with the Angel? Nah, we need to close on the opponent because we can outdraw them. So we can take this hit. We just can't let Beanstalk Fling be a thing. Here's Ugin. We could let Ugin kill the Angel and then ECD the Ugin. I think that's even better than using a counter here. We get to save counters for clovers and escape to the wilds and stuff.
Bearing the wisdom of the ancients.
Yep, dead.
My flames burn beyond.
7 cards in the graveyard if another Uro wants to come out and play. And our opponent's going to cast some critters. Good, good, good. Elspeth conquers death. Get rid of that.
I no longer wish to stay.
We'll give him some feedback. All right. Another. They bounce the apparition. Apparition can come down and take out the beastie. And you see, they're just running down to knuckleheads. Soon they'll have nothing but creatures left. At some point, we have to start using these counter spells. Don't think that's quite worth it. Hello? What the heck is going on? Guys? I'd like to block. What the heck is this? Alright. That's a neat glitch. It's a new one. Reboot client. Reboot client. Release. New releases. Yep, I was clicking on it. It wouldn't block. And obviously the line was like for the effect, right? When you have a glitch, close the client, reset it quickly. Hopefully we get in before the timer runs down. Ta-da! Got there. Like a boss. Sure, I'm about to blow all this up anyway. Go ahead, lean into this. All your cards. The only things I want to counter are Clover and maybe Escape to the Wilds. Let's see, they're at 15 cards in deck, I'm at 17, so they're going to deck first. Another neutralized. I hope you guys can see, like, having no max hand size lets me just play this game in a different way. I got all the time in the world, I got all the answers to everything you want to do. I got no problems. And now that we've played the Shatters, let's go for the Trawler, right? Our opponent could do a sequence like Clover into Fae of Wishes. I guess I could counter the first Clover, then what do? They get a Giant out. Yeah, we still wait another turn. Make them deal with the Angels. It's time to start firing our counter spells at them and get ahead that way. We're going to get a free card next turn. Unfortunately, it's not the Trawler. I don't have a way to just discard this, do I? No hand size. Rip. But yeah, we'll have a board next turn anyway without the Trawler. We can still slow roll her. Slow roll the boat. I often say to people who ask me why I don't put more Castle Vantress in my decks, because by the time you're activating it, you're gonna lose. This is a good example of that. Opponent goes face. We do have to watch our life total. Is under a bit of pressure here. Trawler can fix it when the time comes. I do think we're at a point here where we want to counter what they do and try to set up a board to play the Trawler. But I'm waiting for them to go for these Beanstalk Giants, to be honest. Uro. We should probably exile the Uro. $12 cards left. We've still only seen one Clover, but they might be setting up a turn where they go Clover into Fae. We haven't seen many Faes either. Big Giant. Essence Scatters. Anything else? Little Giant. You're almost to a point where it's too dangerous to use Escape. I already plan to play one Apparition, but an Angel can trade with the Giant. This is fine. Alright. Free Apparition? Free Apparition. Nice. Exile the Uro. Land. Trawls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 2 neutralizes and an Essence Scatter. So we could spend 2 more mana here. Or we could just plan on reading 2 counter spells, not 3. Yeah, let's... no, let's have all the counters. I'm greedy like that. I'm careful. No planes to be found, but it'll gain a little life. Now what? What you got? Still 15 cards, so we can shoot Trawler's power and toughness through the roof. Valaged Recovery for Fae of Wishes. Sure, let's let them set the thing up. Clover. No. And they go for another Clover. No, they go for Granted Now. No. This is what it all broke. This is what the game boiled down to. This turn. We've just been waiting this long, and as you see, we were up on them by a bunch of cards. Alright. Do they have a Brazen Borrower? If they have a Brazen Borrower, they can try to bounce the Trawler and make me give it hexproof. So that's risky. Let's play a Gadwick and just shoot him up for like 5 here. That's a lot of pressure. If we draw a counter, of course the Brazen Borrower plan won't work. Although I can't even remember if I have any neutralize left. Should have checked that first. Oops. Not what I'm trying to do. Content! Bad content! Okay. So this is now 9, 10. It's almost lethal. We can go for ECD, target the Bone Crusher Giant to present lethal pressure. Alright. They let it attack, so no Brazen Borrower, so that should be game. Woo! New blue-white can grind with Teamer Adventures and remove Clovers! It's a new trick, man. It's an important new trick to know with this deck. You don't have to panic anymore when they start clovering you. on the draw, it's a slow hand, and we don't have double white for Shatter, but I'm going to put in my stack your deck request and ask for a Birth of MYTHIC right off the top. Right off the top. Okay, I will allow one more turn for this Birth of MYTHIC to show up. Actually, I don't need it now. Okay, double Cove. Feeling the Cove. Looks like we're up against the Omnath deck. This is another, like, nearly impossible matchup. This one is insanely hard. Because they just have they have more draw 5s than we have counter spells. So we have to counter the Genesis Ultimatum, we have to deal with the Omnath, like everything about it is hell. Yep. Ramp like a boss. Some of you are going to say, why not Confounding Conundrum? I am going to try like an all-in sort of Confounding Conundrum approach to this, but I don't think it will be good. I have zero faith in the deck, zero faith in the strategy, zero faith. Let's see, our opponent can Genesis Ultimatum next turn, so how are we supposed to deal with this? Should we just play proactively and assume that they don't have the mana? Probably. We should probably be proactive here. Sitting back on a counter and taking damage is going to lose us the game in the long run. So, let's play an Angel to match the Bone Crusher. Yep. Whiff. Could be worse. So, probably Shattering the Sky. This way neither of us would get a card out of it, which I think is good, considering where our opponent's at on one card in hand. That card could be another Genesis Ultimatum, though. Maybe we just let the opponent have these for a minute. I mean, I want to Shatter the Sky, but if they have another Ultimatum, I need to counter it. They know about the Angel. I could let them play the Giant. What are they on? 2 cards in graveyard? Yeah, let's see what they do. I have a feeling they're just going to play the Giant. What would I do then? I could take this beating for a little while. Okay. Let's try to shift gears and get to where we have enough land to hold up a counter and then do other things. Acquired. This gives them a free land, but it does make them invest all this mana again, which I think is reasonable as we try to get time for our neutralize to work. Gadwick. The opponent can be holding back an ultimatum, but it could also be a land. We could get a Gadwick down here and just try to get ahead on cards. Gadwick into Restoration. Shatter. Let's see, next turn we have Shatter plus Neutralize, so we're okay with this coming back down. If we're gonna use mana this turn, we may as well tap out. I might regret this. I think this is like I was saying a lot in the intro, you have to know when to go for things. I think this is a go for it. I think my opponent's last card is probably a Bone Crusher Giant, since it's holding priority. And what do we discard? What's not very good against them? We can drop off the Angel and get it back later, since we sort of started the Angel train early. Okay. It's fine.
Perfection is a journey, not
It's gonna be hard though to... Oh man. We can't really ECD
ghost fire.
and hold up a counter, so that's awkward.
Latest creation.
So what are we doing? Birth into ECD? Yeah. We can also hold up an Essence Scatter if we draw an untapped land. Or we're willing to pay 3 life, I'm not. Alright, birth into ECD. It's still holding priority. It feels like it's still a Bone Crusher Giant. It's possible it's a Brazen Borrower. Bye, Ugin.
I have greater matters to attend.
Alright, do not rip Genesis Ultimatum. There is Giant. Nice. ECD tax online. 04 acquired. I would love to play this Restoration, but I don't have the time. And I'm thinking about playing it as a land. Might regret that. I probably should have birthed into that play. It is about to be giant. Okay, down to 6. Omnath. If we let that resolve, we can apparition it. I mean, the opponent could hit 2 more land drops with a Cultivate, but what's more dangerous, that or the Uro? I guess we can apparition the Uro if the opponent goes for that. Either way, they get a card. So, yeah, let's counter it. This one could deal me direct damage this turn. I got something coming back. Angel or Gap? Angel. Angel would stop at the hand. And probably a Bone Crusher? No. I can't think of a reason for them to hold up the mana, so this is just a pacing thing. They don't want to run into another Wrath, which tells me they're low on threats. They might have land in hand. Alright, Apparition, do your thing. Goodbye, Uro. Another Giant. Takes out the Apparition, gives the opponent 3/3. 3/3 is outclassed currently by the Angel. Terror of the Peaks. Can we afford to let that resolve? I don't have a good answer. No, we cannot. Sucks to have to use this on something that's not Genesis Ultimatum, that's for sure. But that's where we're at. We're running out of cards, they're running out of cards. Now we get into the part where it's a top deck war. Their top decks are really good. We have some decent ones too, though. Alright. I really want to turn the tables and get aggressive. Like, badly. That's basically where we need to be in the match right now. So if I play 2 Apparitions, exile these Giants, and this is blocked by the wall, we're doing okay. I could also play an Angel, and that's a better use of mana here, because it holds up the Essence Scatter. Trading an Angel for a Giant's okay, because we have a lot of them. But I really want to be aggressive with them. Uro. Okay, only 1 card in the graveyard. I hate this trade. But I think I have to make it. I think I need to save this apparition for something else, an Omnath or Cobra. Good. Cobra is also something that the apparition can pick off. Get them dead. Get them dead. Angel! Alright, no Ugin off the top. We've got ourselves to a winning position. It's all about the power of the top of their deck now. We're going for a giant, they're going to cast that giant, we're going to counter it. Yes! Yes! Should be game. The frickin' impossible matchup, man. Cards in graveyard, 4. Is this Essence Scatter good? Yeah, thank you. Good game to you. Ah! I could probably end the video. I'm gonna see how long these 2 games were, but I've definitely shown you the 2 hardest possible matchups. A funky hand that's better than it looks. We can sack this to go get white, shock this to get blue, play the birth, and then have apparition on 3. We could also take a slower approach by playing this tapped, but I think that this is the right way to go. Hello, Brazil. Hello to all my Brazilian viewers, as well as viewers from other places in the world. Man. So I played against a lot of mono red on the way up to back into the top 1,000. Once I hit the top 1,000, man, it has been nothing, I tell you, with these Omnath decks and adventure decks. Like, those are the only decks in the top 1,000 these days. Now, we'll see if I'm wrong. Maybe the opponent's not playing what I think they're playing, but usually I see a Triumph these days and I'm like, alright. Alright, here comes the dynamite. I don't want to hold up bouncing with the borrower. Anything they play here is probably for the apparition. Right? Very mysterious what we're up against right now. I don't know if my brain can handle another long control game. I don't know if I can do that. Jeskai, Narset. ECD coming for
Honor
ye.
the past by bringing
Of course, we could also use the apparition on it. Here's the thing about playing against Narset here.
Let me help you practice.
If we play an ECD, it just probably the opponent just plays another ECD. That's what I've learned about the Narset mirror. So it's probably better to use an apparition. Now, what are we bouncing with Borrower? They could definitely be a Shark Typhoon deck, so I'm going to try saving it. Yeah, let's get the apparition down. You always want to be the one ECDing an ECD, not ECDing the permanent that they play. Also, holding up the Borrower bounce is probably not important. We'll see. Maybe there's something I'm not thinking of, but in my head this is for a Shark, or attacking a Planeswalker, like a Narset that minuses. And the curve I'm thinking right now, since our opponent isn't pressuring us, is to go Gadwick into Restoration and be ahead a million cards. They have wishes. This looks like my style of Jeskai control from the last format. We'll have to update Jeskai control at some point, because I do think that Narset is a very good card. Can kill a lot of the things you need to kill. But I think it's a very different deck. And I think that Fae of Wishes, like these Wishboard control decks that I've loved for so long, they seem pretty slow. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. Okay, miscast. They're going to be disappointed when I bust out the Gablik. You can't miscast this. It only targets instants or sorceries. They might get to use it on the Seagate Restoration, though. That's a bit frustrating. But yeah, we'll just play some creatures and enchantments for a while and torture our opponent that way. Realm Cloak. Alright, they get a 4/4 token. Brazen Borrower can hit that. Miscast can't stop it. Do I want another land? We're sort of in a land war where the one who misses on land is going to be in trouble. And it's a scry land, so it can help me put more useless cards on the bottom. We'll draw more. We're like 50% mana builders in our deck between Birth, Restoration, and the lands themselves. We're at 30-ish land. So I'm going to take a hit from this because I don't want to like cast Neutralize on something my opponent's trying to resolve and have it get miscast. But on end step, if they don't go for something, we will Brazen Borrows. Will not flinch, alright. No more 4/4. And they didn't do anything with their turn, so now we can play a Borrower and attack them. Although I'm worried about Shark Typhoon. Okay, they're going to Bone Crush. Sure. Plenty of adventure creatures out of their deck. I think we just say go, which is unfortunate. I don't know how I'm going to resolve this around a miscast. Maybe I'm supposed to play it tapped because that's just not going to happen. But if they ever tap out, I would really want to play this. And we could also just wait for 3 more lands off the top. I don't love it. Yeah, let's wait. A lot could still happen in this game. Could catch them with like an ECD tax, or they tap too much mana. I wish this were an instant so bad. Would be a sweet card. Alright, Adventure Critter deployed. Does the opponent have land? Can they keep up with us on land? Yes, they can. Ugh. That's kind of you. Apparition! Apparition can exile the giant. Cinderclasm will kill the Apparition. Do we play the Neutralize here? Our opponent's going to get a 3/3? Nah. Like, I could have tried to trap them into countering the Neutralize, and then I can Restoration, but I really want them to go for something on their turn, fight a counter war, and then untap in Restoration. So, play something. Thank you. Neutralize. Look at me, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Oh no, miscast. Alright, so shatter them, they draw a card, but we still have a Neutralize. So they can't hurt us too badly on tap. And then next turn Restoration. Counter the cool thing they do. They're just going for an ECD here. Alright, I'll just ECD to ECD. We'll wait on this restoration. Alright, that's fine too. What are they getting back? Just a giant. I could just let them have this ECD and cast the restoration. Yeah. I think that's a lot better. Go big. Yes! Go ahead, tax me. I can handle it. I will pay. Alright, the opponent is going to get a chance Fae of Wishes for a card. What will they find? Make it a good one. Is there a discard 15? Or 12, I should say. Midnight Clock. Okay. Not the same. I thought they might get emergency powers. Midnight Clock? Midnight Clock. Alright, gamers. Alright, gamers. Sure. Let's just say no to clocks. We will fight the clocks wherever they arrive. We just want to play some creatures this turn because our spells are taxed. More cards. We don't have enough yet, clearly. ECD goes off, get yourself a giant. It'll make a wonderful ECD target. And they pass the turn. Meeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oh my goodness. This hand! It's beautiful. No more giant. So we still want Neutralize available. Let's go ahead and play this. Crack that. Have a look at the basics still in the deck. Fetch the island because Birth always fetches the plains. Last plains from the deck. We've got 2 attackers, but the opponent could have a Shark Typhoon, and we actually don't have a way to bounce it. So we will sit back. Would have been an epic shark too. 9. That would have stung. That would have stung. Where's the brazen bees at? Where's Dream Trawler at, for that matter? We need to close, and our opponent has Wraths, so we're going to need a lot of counters and a lot of mana to support the Trawler. Return of the Fae. If the opponent activates it, we can counter the Granted, so this is fine. Oh, they're going. They're going for it. They're going for it. Nah. That's enough for your sideboard. "22 cards with 11 in hand. Somebody stop me. Come at me! Oh my gosh, CGB, don't deck yourself. Dude, I got this under control. Freaking backseat gamers. I got this under control. It's a control deck. Under control is what we do. How many borrowers do we have here? Just 1? We definitely want to hold 1 for a potential Shark Typhoon. So I don't want to like bounce the wall, play the borrower, then get in there. Shark Typhoon's like the thing that our counter spells can't solve. We can't get rid of the wall because it's non-token. Let's just take the flyer. It will have 4 power, which is pretty strong. Let's play a Dream Trawler. Let's tap your wall. With 2 neutralizers, one for the card they have in hand and one for the card they draw next turn, the game is effectively over, as long as we remember to play our counter spells on things that matter. Land. All right. We still have to hold our this Brazen Borrower for a shark, because that's still something we can't counter. That is an out that they have. Haha, what the heck is this green frickin' Ugin? That is a card. What's with the green tint, Ugin? Get out. Good out, but good game, of course. Shiny. And that's it. 9 cards in deck. No big deal. No big deal. And we are back for the post-game wrap-up, and I hope that the video showed you the work and effort you not only have to put into the design of the deck, but the playing of the deck to win these absurdly long, grindy, resource-intensive games that Magic seems to be becoming. I played 3 games for the video. An hour of content done. But yeah, hopefully you found all of this entertaining. Some people like long, control-y grind fests. Some hate them. But if you like them, you usually love them. So I hope some of you love this video. And speaking of what I love, I'm going to keep this one pretty short because I'm already well over an hour. But this YouTube members. Thank you to everybody who bought a YouTube membership last month. I announced last month that half the proceeds from YouTube memberships would go to charities each month. And on October 1st, at the end of this month, our first donation to charity is going to occur. It's going to go to the Cherryland Humane Society in honor of my doggie, who would want all other good doggos to have a home. So, Cherryland Humane Society is my local humane society. My wife used to volunteer there to walk the dogs, but since COVID started, has decided for safety to stay home, which has been very hard for her. So for her and for my puppy Lily, Cherryland Humane Society is getting the first donation. I'll be posting a members only post with how much we were able to donate. If you would like to support by becoming a member, you can hit the join button. It's right there next to subscribe. It's $4.99 a month. You get cool looking badges in the chat. You get access to the Discord, and you get to help me by supporting a good cause. Just really helps me mentally carry on what I'm doing. I'm a person who, when I have a good cause, almost a crusade, I can find the strength to continue. So helping support local charities, even if they aren't necessarily local to you, helps me. And if you want to join in on that, help me help them, hit the join button. Thank you very much to the members, and thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.